Right, guys, welcome back. This is Above Average FPL. My name's Adam, and as always, I'm joined by Baker. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm a little bit croaky. I'm a little bit Sean Dyche this evening, but
No worries.
prepped up for Game week 25. But yeah, I'm all right.
Good, good. Yeah, a little bit chaotic. Apologies for the last half an hour, just a tad late. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? So, um, yeah. So, how was your game week 24? Generally speaking.
Do you know what? Felt like it was going to be a non-event before I pressed, before the deadline passed, and turned out it was a non-event. Yeah, it was literally almost greyish arrow. Meh.
Is what it
It's always
is.
nice. It'd always been nice if you got that extra like 1 point to make it a green arrow, wouldn't it, rather than a red arrow?
Yeah.
But it is. But I was the dull man who went Haaland, obviously, whereas you did not.
No, I had a little bit. I had a moment. I had a moment on Saturday morning where I was like, you know what? What if I just go Rashford? It's this time of the season for me. I just tend to have these thoughts where I tend to want to go a bit rogue, and yeah, funnily enough, I did actually try to reverse it, but I must have. I think I connected to some sort of rogue Wi-Fi, and it wouldn't let me do it. So I had to disconnect from the Wi-Fi, and once I disconnected from the Wi-Fi, I tried to change it back to Haaland, and 11 o'clock went, and then it wouldn't let me go. So I got full lucky.
Now this is good though, mate. Like humble city.
I got full lucky. Yeah, no, I genuinely did try to, because I was chatting. I was at my daughter's gymnastics. And I was just standing outside the car, and I was chatting to someone as well, and then I saw the time, and I was like, oh, hold on. And I just grabbed my phone, and yeah, so I got a bit lucky, but we'll take it. We'll
But
take
you
it.
had the balls to get lucky.
I
That is the
wasn't.
point of
I was. I
this.
wasn't. No, yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't upset about not being able to change it back. I was like, you know what? Actually, yeah, this could be a good one. This could be a good one.
Thing is though, like this is the good part. This is the tough part as well. And for anyone who's been on this journey with us for like the last 3 years of this, when we first started this, one of the things of when we chatted as friends, we were like, I'm Mr. Dole template. I do those things. You're much more aggressive in it. And the thing that I always remembered, from when you literally taught me how to play those games was aggressive captains. And when you saw that opportunity, look, mate, staying with genius, Magnus Carlsen does exactly that. Is own both, captain the other one.
Yeah.
And it was never really going to be a big pain either
No,
way, was
that
it?
was it.
Really?
That was it. As I said to the guys in Discord, I said, I think, whatever happens, actually, it's not going to be too far away. And it turned out it was. So that was good in my favor, obviously. I mean, I'll play on the variance and I'll take it. I mean, Flappy stole my variance last week, but
Mm.
I'll take it back this week in spades. Thank you very much. So should we
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
look at
yeah.
these teams then? See how we got on. So I've completely forgotten which screen it is. I think it's this one. Yeah.
There you are, mate.
So yeah, 61 points for me. Small green arrow up to about 258k. Load of crap across the back line. Once again, I've got the wrong keeper on the pitch. Ugh. So
Yeah,
it's doing
you've had that a few times.
my keeper points on the bench have been incredible the last 3 weeks.
Mm.
But yeah, Trippier, Gabriel, Bueno. Took a punt on him. Bit disappointed there, obviously. KDB, meh. Odegaard, fine. Mitoma, a little bit unlucky again. Wasn't really as involved this week, even though Brighton had another shit ton of chances. Saka, Haaland, Kane, and then Rashford captain. So that's where I am. And I rolled. So I've got 2 free transfers this week.
We're definitely seeing something on time, aren't we? Where he starts the game up way too wide, and then he comes into it at the end. There was a break at the end where he was in the middle of the pitch, and they went down their left hand side. But I don't understand it. Just get him involved all game. But yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing in it. You got 30 points from your captain, but it's still not. It wasn't as big a risk, I think, as people think it would be, and that's the good part. Going past this, we're probably not going to captain Haaland for a while now, are we?
Potentially not. Certainly not next week.
Potentially not. And Dublin 27, they likely blank in 28. we'll see come 29. For me, yeah, are we? I feel like we got quite lucky with the Arsenal ones, but also quite unlucky in a strange way. Is that you didn't get more from them. White only getting a 1 pointer was very attacking to only get 1 pointer, and Saka and Odegaard only getting 14 points between them. They could have got a lot more. But then I'm sure if you're an Nketiah only this week, you'd be like, I don't understand how he's just not returning.
Yeah.
And KDB, yeah, both had KDB blanks. God knows, how Laporte didn't put that one in that was under his nose.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Mitrovic is something that I've got to try and work through this week. That's going to be the one. I'm not sure we're going to get much news for it.
Are you ever getting rid of Doherty? Is he going this week?
Maybe. Depends how big the hits get. Depends how big the hits get.
Cool.
I'd like to, but I do think we need the money as well. So he will probably be the last man out, I suspect, if he is man out.
Fair enough. Good stuff. Well, while we've now done our game weeks, I'm going to say hello to everyone in the YouTube chat on the live stream. Hello to you. Chuck your game weeks in there, what you scored, what your rank is, all that stuff. Interact, and let's get it buzzing in chat. And while you're doing that, we'd just like to say, as always, Above Average FPL is supported by @CryptoBlockDan. Dan is in the chat tonight. I've seen him already. So hello to you, Dan. Dan is a acquisition analyst for a play-to-earn crypto company, and he supports us fantastically. So if you have any questions about crypto, about the blockchain, the use cases of it, etc., go drop him a follow on Twitter and drop him a DM and ask him some questions, and I'm sure he'd be happy to let you know. We also got our Discord, so if you want to support us in that way, then patreon.com/above average FPL, and you can come and join us, talk about all these double game weeks coming up and what our plans are, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, early deadline this week. So we're going to want to know about that. And so, yeah, if you'd like to do that, patreon.com/above average FPL. We've actually got to an end of a game week. We're not mid game week. So I've chucked a league update in here. So well done to everyone who's topping our leagues. So Mark Bleakley is topping it, 1,654 points. And I'll quickly run through the rest of it.
1,654 points.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And he's miles ahead of 10th for that. I'm not even sure. I didn't even check what rank that is. But in second is Ole Knutson, and then you've got Tom Appadale, then you've got Kwabena Killer, and then Vicky Davis, Atur Tur in 6th, Akshay Akundi in 7th, Mattia Anik in 8th, Benjamin Barassa in 9th, and Finton O'Sullivan in 10th. GG to all of you guys. You're absolutely smashing it, and love having you topping our leagues there. So well done to all of you.
My rank 45, Mark Bleakley.
45, there you go.
We could do it again, boys. We could get another one again.
That'd be amazing. I was a little bit disappointed in Harry this week. He got a red arrow.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Have you seen him though out skiing? God, he's so adorable.
Yeah. So cool. So the thumbnail, all in. So let's start there.
All in question mark? Is it a question mark?
I'm not sure whether it's a question mark, to be honest. But yeah, so all in. So we're going to start at Newcastle versus Liverpool, and then we're going to move to the wheel. Even though I haven't taken Newcastle Liverpool off the wheel, we're going to start with Newcastle Liverpool. I'll spin it until it gets there, just while we're talking about it. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was funny because
I really wanted them to keep quiet, didn't you? I really wanted it to be a really quiet week for Liverpool.
Yeah, it kind of didn't help. What's worse about it is that both goals. Well, you say it's a quiet week for it's a weird week for Liverpool because they came out of blocks, right? 2 huge chances, as you can see, before the red card, and then they go and proceed to go down to Newcastle go down to 10 men, and then they concede 1.8 xg, and then don't score. It's like, what? It's absolute madness. I mean, look, Nunez's goal, great finish. Great touch, great finish. You know, and just Trent is elite at finding that space, playing that early ball in behind, and he will continue to get more of those chances. That's just what the Liverpool will do. And anyone thinking that Liverpool's attacking numbers have dropped or they were unsure about them this week, I had a look at a few sample sizes on the XG, comparing it to the rest of the league. So I looked at like season-long XG, they're top 3. Last 10 games, they're top 4. Last 6 games, they're top 4. Last 4 games, they're top 5. So there is, in quote unquote, a drop off. But look, the top 5 XG in the league at the moment, they're still good, and they've got 2 fixtures coming up, and Gakpo's now off the mark and running, and he's getting in those positions where, if anybody watched him, I didn't, but if anybody watched him in the Eredivisie, he had something like 21 returns in 13 games before the World Cup. So he knows how to create a chance or score a goal. He just knows.
Yeah.
So he's very interesting.
He does. And I mean, Darwin is just a tour de force, isn't he? Like, he is just he's always up there. He's always on it. Yeah. I just want to be in that club when he gets those 4 goals in a game, because it's going to happen at some point. Took really good composure, I thought, to take that down. When they checked it, and I was thinking it's going to be a handball, I was like, I didn't want it to be a handball for him, because I was like, you want him to do well. And good goal. The Gakpo thing, I think what we're seeing from him, there's been like Dele Alli comparisons to him. Not just us, because we're Spurs and compare everyone to Spurs players, but people do genuinely compare the way he moves into the box on it, and it's very, very similar. If you look at kind of pass maps, he's not high, but he is playing the number 9, but he does it in a different way to sort of Firmino does it, where Firmino would basically link in and play out to the people, to score goals to Mane and Salah. Feels like he wants to do more give and go.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like he's, I know he had quite a lot of assists in Holland, but it feels more like now that goal he scored, it was very much I want this back, please.
Yeah.
Like some players, Mane used to do this, where like the ball was always a little bit behind to the person he was giving it to. It was never in front. It was almost like, play us a little bit behind you, because then I get the opportunity to go past you. And it feels a bit like that. You're interested in him, and yeah, Gakpo.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so. He's I can get to Salah, but there's a route I can get to Gakpo rather without selling Kane potentially as well. Because Salah requires Kane to go. Yeah. I mean, I'm not against it, but at the same time, I'd like to hold on to Kane if I can. So if I can do that, then I think psychologically I will probably lean that way if I can. And depends on what sample size you want to look at, but numbers they could help that decision potentially.
In your mind, then, are you suggesting that you don't think you'd captain Mo this week?
Potentially. I think Gakpo is probably a good shout. Saka's obviously a good shout for captaincy as well. In fact, they're probably the 2. Darwin's probably an option as well.
Yeah, I guess. So Darwin's got shoulder thing, but we'll know because they've got the Madrid game, or we'll at least have. We're not going to know. If he misses the Madrid game, then it becomes a lot harder to go, especially if you're going, say, Darwin to Kane, doesn't it? If you're going like a Mitrovic to Darwin, then that's easy. Is doubt against doubt. But going a Kane to Darwin is a lot more difficult if Darwin misses midweek. I didn't realize how expensive Jota was. I mean, Jota was brilliant when he came on. I thought he looked sharp.
How much is he?
8.8. He's 1.1 million more than Darwin.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult.
Too
It's
much.
difficult to justify that.
Difficult to justify that without the minutes in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, depends on how heavy you want to go on Liverpool, because they could still blank in 28, right?
Yeah.
So they could still blank in 28, and then they've got United in 26 as
the
well.
thing
So
is,
could you get away with just 2 rather than 3?
If you go big on hits this week, and let's just say you bring in Everton players and triple Liverpool, and then Leeds beat Fulham, and I do think I think Leeds. I think if it was a Premier League game tomorrow, you wouldn't call it that close between Leeds and Fulham. But Fulham are in a really strong position in the league. They have rotated a lot in each of the FA Cup games. I would not be surprised if they do the same again. I think that's a little closer in a cup game than it is in a league game. And you could get really lucky. Like if you've got triple Liverpool in your team in 25, then the FA Cup games happen, and then suddenly you find that you definitely don't need to free hit in 28. The hits that you do this week has also saved you a chip as well.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you just do your free hit. And you know what I mean? It's not really the big issue. And I just seen Andy Max in the chat. He said, Mitrovic could be out this Friday, and he could be out of the Leeds game. Is Silva said that they'll see in a few days, but we'll work that out later. But yeah, Darwin good, Gakpo good, Salah. Like if that cutback from Robertson, if Salah just puts that in, Robertson and Salah are suddenly bigger on the menu. Bigger, much. Robertson has a big haul this week because he should have had a big haul this week. If Salah puts that in, everyone's capping him. Like they should have taken a bit more advantage over 10 men. The big thing is though, even with 10 men, even 2-0 up, Salah still doesn't come off. The others have come off pre-60. I think it was about 57, 58 minutes when Darwin and Gakpo came off. Now Darwin shoulder issue, but Gakpo still comes off.
Yeah, they were all pre-60. So yeah, Darwin, Bajcetic, Henderson, and Gakpo all came off on 59. All of them. Yeah,
that's the concern.
Do you think that's game state? Do you think that's game state though, rather than anything else? Apart from obviously the Darwin one, but do you think that's game state? 2-0, 60 minutes, rest up, rather than is it surely game state rather than anything else?
Look what happened. They then got absolutely battered by 10 men Newcastle.
Yeah, of course, but yeah, they still rode the game out and won 2-0. Then, and is the point that it's fine saying that Gakpo's a minute's risk and is going to get pulled off on 60. Well, fine. If you can score 1 goal a game, then no one cares.
Yeah.
Right. And fine. Okay. In that situation, you're not going to cap him. You're going to go Saka. If you've gone Gakpo, not Salah, then you're going to cap Saka because of the minutes. But
I've just noticed. Are you calling him Gakpo?
I am calling him Gakpo.
This is what we're doing it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to be a professional outfit here.
Yeah.
We're calling him Gakpo.
Doing my best.
I'm absolutely not calling him Gakpo. I'm Gakpo all day long for me.
Fair enough. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh
yeah, and Dan's mentioned we need to talk about Alisson as well, because
mate, the transfers. What on earth is going on in this world? Like Pope gets sent off. Can we laugh at Pope sending off as well?
Yeah.
Like I think like if you this is horrendous. I'll send you pics on my phone later. I'll tweet them out. But I actually kept rewinding and playing the bit because what he actually does is he traps the ball with his head on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew where he was. I felt like he knocked himself out on the ball and was like, I don't know what I've done.
Arms start flailing everywhere. Yeah, it did because it looked like he'd gone just to head it. And then it didn't get any contact. He didn't get any contact on it, so he literally sandwiched it. It was like that. It was like that video you sent of that skill on WhatsApp. Now, no one else is going to know what we're talking about, but that mad skill that guy did, where he just basically sandwiches the ball against the floor. But yeah, I don't know. And then he just panicked. He obviously panicked because he didn't get the contact he wanted on it, and then just arms came out, and yeah, whatever.
He didn't know where it was.
But it's mad because obviously, like, official FPL tweet out like, who are you transferring in? And he doesn't miss any games.
It doesn't miss any league games, but suddenly everyone's. But do you not think that might mean that? Do you not think this might mean that there's a load of wild cards in play?
Wow. You just associating
20,000 transfers out for Pope already this week?
Yeah, but are you just associating that with this time of the season?
Maybe, but I do think maybe people are going to take a load of wild. I think we might see quite a few wild cards this week. Not maybe engaged managers, but I think in general, I think there could be quite a lot in play.
Okay.
But yeah, 85,000 have already gone to Alisson. So that defensive, it's not going to be as like I thought. No one's getting the Trent, no one's getting a Robert. Yeah, they're all getting a bloody Alisson, and he's so good. He was on it again, wasn't he? That Wilson save was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just as well, yeah. Pope is only banned for one game. One game.
Yeah.
It's not 3 games. One game. It's not. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Newcastle. We've got to shift over to Newcastle. I guess at the moment it's just like is it keep trips, sell everyone else? Almiron gone. Yeah. Wilson, if you've got him, gone. Botman, get rid. Pope, well.
Just understand. If you definitely are free hitting in 28, then I think if you want to make the move and get rid of it, Trippier as well, yeah, just do it. Like if you really want to. I don't like it. But only because I'm not completely down that road of game week 28 free hit, and I definitely would want him in game week 28. And he's got a game 27.
Yeah, I just think most people. I think the thing is, most people are going to have tons of value in him. They're going to have to. I mean, I thought, did I get on him early? I can't even think whether I got on him early, but I got him at 5.2, which means I get 5.6 million if I sell him, and then cost me 6.1 million to buy him back. So
makes no sense. Makes no sense. Like Wolves at home in 27, Forest away in 28. Nah. Potentially doubles in 29 or 30 or 31. Maybe both. Nah. Like, I'm not doing that, thanks.
Yeah. Someone saying to me, like, massive red arrow if I didn't captain Rashford. Well, yeah, about 40k, but that's fine. But I didn't.
I'll be in the winner.
I captained Rashford, so.
But that's part of the aggressive plays in how we play the games. Like, it don't matter at the end of the season. It's just how many points you get.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Right, we go into the wheel.
Let's go the wheel.
Right, ignore that. I had to spin the wheel a few times just to get it going. So the wheel is spinning. Let's look at who we're going to go to next. We're going to go to Southampton. Oh, Lord James Ward-Prowse. Why not, eh? Right, what do we take from this then? Because lots of people went Felix.
a lot of people went
Felix.
I mean, I jumped in on for a while.
I jumped in on the FPL Wire. Yeah, I jumped in on the FPL Wire pod last week. Zoff was talking about it, and I did send a message in chat saying there's absolutely no chance he goes there. I don't know. Did he? I don't know whether he did.
Nah.
No.
We all rolled out with Mitrovic and just got no points.
Yeah.
Got Andreas off the bench, 3 points.
Fair enough.
Job well done.
What do we think about Chelsea? Because they did create some chances, and they had a couple cleared off the line and stuff like that.
I mean, they were better once Sterling came on.
Yeah, definitely. What does that tell you? Because Sterling's not an option.
No, not an FPL option, but
was Reece James just completely rested?
It's just a mess.
No, I don't.
it's just a mess.
He
It
won't.
is a mess.
Potter won't be there if they lose to us next week.
No,
That'll be
no, I
a
don't think
fine.
so.
That'll be a final straw.
Yeah, because that for the fans will just be a massive thing. Because like, whatever happens, like me and you expect us to lose next weekend.
Yeah, yeah, because we know what Chelsea.
Tottenham,
No,
innit?
not what Chelsea do, but what Tottenham do when we play Chelsea. Yes, we do know that.
They turn up, we do not. And their fans, regardless of anything else, they'd be like, well, at least we've got that game next week. At least we've got that game.
Yeah.
But if they walk out of that ground and that doesn't work out for them against Tottenham, then that is over. But there's something not quite right.
I don't think we need to
Something
spend too
right.
much time here because there's not really any sort of FPL options to consider because we're not touching Southampton because
Yeah,
they're still rubbish. Like Ward-Prowse is he's just an absolute
just a god.
technician.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not going there. He'll just tick over as he always does.
You can't go there.
No.
You can't go there. You can't go there full stop on these teams right now.
Yeah. And to wait till wild card type thing.
Yeah. Chelsea have got a game in 28 against Everton.
Even that doesn't sound like the best fixture, does it?
It feels like a 0-1, maybe a 1-0, who knows?
Yeah.
But literally we'll get there when we get there. And I don't think you need to look at it until 28.
Yeah.
But even then, like if they get through to 29, Villa and Liverpool look like they're doubles in. They're both at home, but Villa and Liverpool in 29. I'm not sure we go there full stop.
Fair enough. I'm sure nobody cares if we move on. If we move on with
least amount of analysis ever. Just move on.
It is just move on from there. So right, let's hide that one and go again. So next game is De Zerbi marched off. Little play on words there for being sent off and Solly March. I mean, it felt like old school Brighton a little bit. Look at this chart, man. They just didn't even give
Fulham so many charts, isn't there, in that chart? There's so many kinks in it, let alone the big ones. It's like the whole way along it, like it's non-stop. They are consistently putting up big numbers here.
Yeah, their XG in the last 6 games is like 12.7.
But
which is mad.
Do you not think that there's a part though that teams still have this thing in their brain that if you just stay in against Brighton, at some point they'll chuck one in their own net?
Feels it
because they've done it for a long time.
I don't think they really did much wrong with it was a small chance, the one they gave away at the end there. It wasn't really much. I say it wasn't really much. It was very similar to the one that Watkins scored, I guess, but as well for Villa. But I can't imagine they would have expected to concede from that. I can't imagine that whatsoever. I mean,
you feel so bad if you go off that end of that game and you've lost. You just don't even understand it.
Yeah. But
you're just walking out and go, I don't even know who Solomon is. I don't even know who he is.
He scored 2 in 2. So that's something. But yeah, I don't know where he came from or anything like that. And De Silva came out. Marco Silva came out and said that the way they played today wasn't correct. The way that they've been set up over the past season has really been to play with a real core, like focal point number 9, and they're really finding it difficult to play without him. So that's interesting, just on how Fulham may play without Mitrovic and how important Mitrovic is to Fulham overall as well.
Exactly. Like I think if he's fine, like they're getting him out.
Exactly. Like, you can see why they did it pre-World
season.
Cup. Yeah, exactly. Pre-World Cup, they were flogging him, and they're fine. They've got Wolves this week, but after that, like they got 3 absolute stinkers, and 28 might even be a blank. So
yeah, people are moving off, mate, because Brentford are cheap, and saying that, people might. If Andreas has got a guaranteed game in 28, that's going to test people a little bit, because it's really, really difficult of who you would get to get one of these midfield, because all of the players you want from Brighton are in the midfield, aren't they? They're all, whether it's McAllister, whether it's March, whether it's Matoma, they're all about the same price, and they all play midfield. And we've all got Rashford, and we will have probably Salah or De Bruyne, somebody, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got Odegaard and Saka, so you've already got 4. And then if you get Matoma, you've got Matoma, then it's your 5th one. Then it's like, what do you need to do with your forwards? You've got to go down 2 forwards, but have you got 2 forwards? A lot of people have got Nketiah, you know what I mean? Like it's really a difficult thing for a lot of people to end up in this space where you end up with a Brighton midfielder. So I think their ownership is still going to be pretty low going into that double game week. And for those that are on it, like, you've got Matoma, I think it's going to be fantastic for you. And I think those that have got a Stupinan, who, gets lucky and gets the clean this week, going off before the goal, which we're fuming about. They're in a really, really strong position, I think, those guys that they've got.
Does that make a Stupinan an option then? I mean, I know he feels like an option anyway, but does the fact that he might get pulled make him even more of an option in games like this, where they're just going to, they might need to change something up, and he gets pulled off, and he banks his clean sheet, and he sails off into the sunset with 7 points or whatever.
Yeah, the issue is that most of us have got an Arsenal defender. Most of us got a Trippier. Most of us at the end of this week will have a Liverpool defender.
And we're sitting at 3.9.
And they're all going to have good fixtures in 27.
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult, and you've already talked about, we're going to have to either play 5 midfield, or you're going to be using 7 attacking spots. Everyone is going to be using 7 attacking spots. So I think you could play them above an Arsenal defender because they've got Fulham. I think you can go. I think you could. Yeah, but do you want to use a transfer to do it?
Someone in chat saying Stupinan's injured, but I don't know. SofaScore didn't record him as an injury substitution.
I didn't see that.
But nobody mentioned it, so we'll look.
Nobody's getting him in this week anyway.
No, fair enough.
But I do think for both Brentford and Brighton, their fixtures in 26 are really good. And I do think if you really do want to go there for 27, 26
is fine.
Maybe is fine, go then rather than 27.
Yeah, Brighton with West Ham at home, and Brentford have Fulham at home. So yeah, good fixtures. In fact, their fixtures are pretty good out the back of 25. You'll see them maybe hop up to the top half of some tickers after. Well, they'll go top because of doubles and 27, of course.
Definitely. Tony's the difficult one, because if he does get another yellow card, then you're like, I don't know if I go there or not. Well, let's see if we spin him. On.
What did we say? He was on 8 or 9? You said he was on 8.
He's on 8 still. Yeah, still on 8 as well.
That's good. Just keep him on 8. Keep him on 8 as long as possible. Did you say wheel?
Spin that wheel, baby.
Spin the wheel. I'll put it on screen first so that we can see it. So there we go. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Hopefully, he doesn't get booked, and then everyone will flood there as well, I guess. So no bueno.
No.
I think I use this pun for like every time I just want to talk about Wolves.
It's the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah,
he's not really a gift though, is he?
No, because last week he came on and did all the good stuff, and Wolves went on and did the good stuff and won the game, and then this week he goes off after 60 minutes, having conceded, and the goal coming from his side of the pitch, and then he goes off after 61 or whatever it is and disappears. Yeah, it doesn't feel ideal.
Like, this chart though is no different to the chart before, really, in a way, other than the goal. Like, if you just take away the goal, it's the same chart. Like, it's a flat line. Literally, it's just that you've got that little big spike in the middle.
That spike.
Other than that,
they probably wouldn't have got above 0.15 XG, would they?
Nah. Like, they've done literally nothing all game.
Absolutely awful from Bournemouth. Apart from that one chance, which wins.
Yeah. But game state, isn't it? You know, is you could if you looked at it the other way around, Wolves were about 0.8 xg when Bournemouth scored, and to get back into a game when 1-0 down, they got 1.1 xg, like 0.3 xg post goal when you're at home against Bournemouth. That's a problem.
Yeah. But it goes like, how much of a problem is it really? I mean, at 3.9 million, you're not really fussed. I mean, you're not going anywhere else in the side. Like the forwards are not an option. Your midfield, like Neves, no, he's never been an FPL option. People have talked about in the past about Kilman. I mean, fine, you know, he'll get you minutes, but Bueno is going to be the same, but get rotated. If you get 2 points out of your 4.9, 3.9 over the double, I'm not really too fussed. I think you said it last week, was that, you know, you end up taking a hit for your 3.9 guy, then whoever you bring in does have to keep a clean to make it worthwhile. 1 out of 2 cleans just to break even on the deal.
It does, but it is Fulham away and Liverpool away. The more I keep looking at this, the more I think I should just hit and not start Bueno. Just do more hits. Because realistically, they might not play in 28. Again, you know, if for example Leeds do beat Fulham, then they don't play in 28. I'm not saying I necessarily need to hit him out as such. I think I can probably just keep him on my bench. But do I actually really want to start this guy? And I'm siding a little bit more away from it the more I think about it, because, you know, we've heard the old Salah specialist business, and then you think the Friday night game against Fulham. Do I think they'll keep it clean against Fulham? No, I don't.
No Mitro though.
But he ain't. He's not an idiot.
It's weird. I mean, it's weird. You go back to this. You go back to this chart, and you go Fulham 0.3 xg. I know that's a way.
They did what they needed to do in the end because they made the changes to do it, and he said he's learned. So we've just said that we learned that he knew that he can't do what he's done. If it turns out Mitrovic is likely back, I think there's a good hedge as well. I think if you've got Mitrovic and you've got Bueno, playing one of them and having one of them as the first bench is quite a good option. Because you either, you know, you play Mitro, for example.
But you play Mitro because you will almost certainly get a point out of Bueno.
Yeah,
you definitely getting a point out of Bueno, whatever happens out of the 2 games.
Yeah,
he's gonna get some minutes.
Yeah, but you know, if we're talking about like a Tarko, we're talking about a Liverpool defenders, like they can smash it. Like Tarko, for example, he has a double, but then he plays Chelsea in 28. Well, Chelsea don't score goals, so you're not just getting. I thought about it more, and I'm like, with Tarko, for example, do I think Tarko gets 2 more points than Bueno this week? Probably more about that. And do I think he gets 2 more points than him in 28? Yeah, I do. And is the upside bigger on Tarko than starting Bueno? Yeah.
Fair enough.
So if you haven't got Tarko, I actually don't mind that if you can actually take an extra hit and go there, because I just think it's a longer standing option that you could play around with.
Yeah, no, fair. That's fair.
Other than that, on these teams, don't go there next week on Wolves. Don't get sucked in on Wolves.
I agree.
If you've got them, you've got them, but don't get new ones.
I agree. Cool.
You're not getting Sarabia in for Rashford.
No.
No matter what, even if a review says that that's what you should do, you won't do that. No,
definitely not. I'm definitely not. He knows for his career is the next spin on the wheel. Good shout to you. Can anyone guess what this game is? Is there anybody in the chat know what this game is? Because Baker couldn't work it out earlier. It was quite funny.
I didn't know it, but I loved the interview.
It was great.
Absolutely loved the interview.
He knows for his career.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think well done. You're giving it away there. So let's go to Villa versus Arsenal. No one in the chat said anything. So if anybody didn't listen to that interview, Emery was saying that that Martinez now knows for his career not to go up for corners unless he is told to go up for corners, because he did not ask and he just went, which is pretty much Emi Martinez's MO, to be honest, isn't it?
Do you know what? I love the interview though, because I've never really thought about it. I've never really thought about the idea that you just go, no, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. But when he said it, I started thinking to myself, and I was like, yeah, why do keepers go up? It is stupid. Like, you're potentially giving a goal away, but also they just get in the way of everyone.
Yeah, they do. But I think that in some ways that's what they're trying to do, is just to cause chaos more than anything, because defenders have to think about marking another person. But the ball never gets to the keeper. I mean, we see hardly any keepers ever score from when they go up. I mean,
it's just a circus,
it has happened. But
it just becomes a circus. It just becomes a scramble. What's going to happen? And if nothing else, what happens is, if the defensive team get it, they crap themselves and they just put the ball out, because they're like, oh my god, I've got no keeper in goal. I'm just going to put the ball out, waste some time. And if they get it, they just run to the other end and scored.
Yeah.
Martinelli wimped out that celebration, by the way. He didn't fully give it, did he? He wanted to do the full arms out Ross Barkley style, but
before he scored,
I'm going to flap my arm up and then put him straight down again. Like, he didn't. He looked worse for doing it.
Yeah, this is great. So I'm going to double check this, because I checked this last night and I'm pretty sure his XG for that goal was 0.97. Right, so when I checked it was 0.97. I'm just double checking that. No, 0.98. But his expected goal once it was on target was 0.68.
That's ridiculous.
I don't even know what that means. Like, the ball's rolling towards a goal with no keeper. Surely it's got to be one.
This is some of it where what you watch doesn't always reflect what you saw in terms of the game of how it works. Because when you think of the game state for it, looking at this looks like an absolute landslide. And even, I think that's a little bit that annoys probably Emery, is that it ends up with a 4-2 win, 3.13 XG versus 0.46 XG. And you're like, actually, Villa went ahead, good chance, broke them, good move for the second to go 2-1 ahead.
Yeah.
That, I don't understand how Zinchenko's goal is anywhere near the XG what it is, because that doesn't look like that at all to me.
There was a couple of chances beforehand, I think.
Was it?
Yeah,
must be something adding into that. It can't just be that shot.
There's 2 or 3 shots beforehand, then it comes out to Zinchenko, I think, in the same minute.
Must be. It can't be just that one. But it's a scramble. It's a good goal in those bits. And then from a position piece, Bailey is very unlucky to not make it 3-2. And if it's 3-2, then you wouldn't, if they'd have scored 3-2, you wouldn't have said that Villa were like, that was undeserved. I thought they played well, Villa. I thought they played a lot better than what these things are. Watkins, I think, is an option at some point. Probably not doing it, but he is an option at some point. The other way around, if you're an Eddie Nketiah, no, I said it already, but bloody hell. How has he not got so many points? How has he not got 20 points in the last 3 game weeks?
1.15 XG this week.
White and Nketiah, like, if you own both of those this weekend, you just got completely done over.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Odegaard, just bonus monster.
Yeah.
Absurd. That was the big chance he missed. That was his only shot of the entire game. That's the only thing, is feels a little underwhelming owning him, in terms of, you feel like, is he ever actually going to score? But you don't mind it so much when they cost less than 7 million. You mind it a lot more when they cost 12 million, like KDB.
Yeah, definitely. And the difference is with Odegaard is, like, earlier in the season, he was finding himself late runs into the box, and even if you consider yesterday, he's getting the chance that he missed, he's getting himself into the 12 yards out, right? So he's sitting there right in the center of the pitch, goal at his mercy. So, he's getting into the spaces that De Bruyne doesn't get into when he's taking shots. De Bruyne's shots are generally from further out, wider angles. You just have to look at the goal against Arsenal, for example. Like that was miles out. Bit of an anomaly, but
what do you do if you own Martinelli for this Gameweek 25? I'd hold him.
you just keep him. I think. I think I don't know whether he's going to start. I don't really recall much happening with Trossard during the game. Generally speaking,
that in general, I think
is the issue.
I'd still play. Like there was lots of rumours, wasn't there, before the game that maybe Martinelli was starting at 9 and Nketiah wasn't playing and all those ones. If I walked away from that game, I know Nketiah would be frustrating that he's not scoring. But the headers, the chances he's getting into, I'm not sure anybody else in their squad gets into those positions.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't, if I was Arteta, I'd just keep playing Eddie. But I think I would.
As soon as Jesus is ready, though, Eddie's gone. I mean, unless he's banging goals.
Who knows when he's ready, though? Who knows?
Yeah.
It doesn't. The comments do not sound like he's ready for 25 now.
No.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about Watkins as a potential option? He's just going to score goals.
Mate,
he's just going to score goals.
A lot of people buying him.
No one's going to have him. You say a lot of people.
I just checked earlier. Like 4,000 people brought him in the hour before this podcast.
Oh.
4,000 people in the hour before this podcast. That seems a lot of people.
They do go Everton, Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth, Chelsea. No doubles, but no doubles. But
no doubles.
Yeah,
but no blanks. Yeah, I firmly think there's a good chance that we all end up going Tony, and then end up going Watkins in 28. I think there's a very good chance of that happening because they could have, Chelsea, Leicester. Double. I mean, it's not the greatest double to away games, but I do think a lot of us could punt on him in 28. But yeah.
So just the last thing on this one before I'm just a quick look at those chances for that when that Zinchenko goal in. So Nketiah had a 0.15 chance in the 61st minute. Then he had a 0.17 chance. Then he had another 0.15 chance, and then Zinchenko scored from a 0.04 chance. All in the same minute. So Nketiah had like 0.5 xg, and then Zinchenko scored from nothing.
Unlucky.
Yes, Colm, 8 yellow cards for Tony as it stands. So let's go. We've still got a few to get through. Probably won't spend too long. Wow, I say that 4.25 xg.
It's a lot of xg in it.
Oh, it's 4.24. Sorry.
You captain the big man?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. I don't know what I want to say about him. I mean, you listen to the interview after the game as well, and you can just feel the difference in his mentality now as well. Because he said he was going to pass it, and then decided to take the shot. And I wasn't particularly happy in the interview. Well, depends how you see it, but I wasn't particularly happy in the interview that he said, I'm always going to go across the keeper. Like every keeper's like looking at that going, perfect. Thanks, Marcus. Cheers for that.
He does though, doesn't he? He does always go across the keeper.
But keepers should know that now though.
They were really trademark, like really conventional.
The first one was. The second one was was pretty close to Danny Ward. But
does he need to though? Because the Barcelona game last week was completely unconventional in the way that he went. Like the way that he put his foot, it feels like he puts his foot through the ball really, really quickly. Like the ball suddenly just
no
gone.
Backlift.
Yeah,
no backlift type strikes. You feel like it's in stride, basically.
Yes, in stride. That's the perfect term for it. It's not no backlift, but it's like it just happened.
His foot's coming from a stride. It's not coming from a shot.
Exactly.
So the keeper doesn't know when he's shooting, and then and you hit it so hard. If you hit it so hard, then. And that's it. It's the backlift. You can't. If you're not expecting
all momentum,
so much harder.
All through the ball. Thanks very much. It's in. I don't think it matters that much what side he puts it in. Like that second goal. I mean, Ward just looks stupid. It looks like he spins on his own heels trying to work out where he's put it. It just. I think it's gone past. I think it's going past the keeper. The way he's hitting it, I feel like it's going past the keeper before they know it's done. As I said, the Barcelona goal.
something
near
like 19
post,
returns in his last 18 games or 20 returns in his last 18 games. It's
and
absolutely
they're
incredible.
all in unbelievable positions.
Yeah, he had one where he came
Unbelievable.
inside off the left early in the second half, about 50th minute, where he did kind of snatch at it or it felt like that, and he did hit it straight at Ward. But one thing that I think that's really enabling this team at the moment, and we were chatting about this in WhatsApp and arguing and discussing about it, I think the player that seems to be enabling all of this, functional movement around him is Weghorst. And I think they really work well with a guy he's just causing a problem, and he doesn't really want or need the ball to be a
No,
problem. Like, it sounds stupid, but this team exactly the same with Ronaldo standing where Weghorst is a worse team. Like as a team, like Bruno functions when he doesn't have to find Ronaldo with every pass. Rashford functions when he doesn't have to find Ronaldo with every pass. Like if you watch that third goal, and I argued about this with someone in WhatsApp, but I truly believe that Weghorst's movement there is to create space for Sancho to move into, and that's the only reason Sancho gets the chance to then play it out to Bruno, gets the ball back inside, and he has like a side foot finish from 7 yards out. It was just a really nice move, and they're not they're going to hang around. United will hang
they,
around.
they
They
are going to
will,
hang.
and if City and Arsenal slip up anywhere, they will be right behind them. They will be
Yeah,
right behind them. That said, FPL wise, I mean, and I sold Shaw last week, so I'm feeling pain from that. But they're sitting at the bottom of tickers at the moment because they've got tough fixtures and blanks everywhere. Like
they have.
United
They
go
have.
blank,
But
Liverpool, Southampton, probably blank, Newcastle.
possible double though, likely double in that.
Well,
So
yeah, everyone's
let
a
me
double in 29 though.
flip it around. You take them out this week, or you take some of them out this week. Take Bruno out this week because not actually, in fact, gone down since most people have bought him,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous because he just keeps shitting points. But obviously Rashford's gone up, Shaw's gone up. Flip it the other way around. You free hit in 28. You could have Bruno at a very, very low ownership. You could actually get Shaw points and they benefit you. You actually maybe even benefit off Rashford points if you've got him against Liverpool, who just conceded 2 XG against Newcastle with 10 men. You don't think that Man United are going to go there and go at Liverpool? Like, this is the first time Man United Liverpool is their biggest game, and this is the first time they're going to go into it and be ahead of Liverpool in the league table for a long time. Like, they're going to want to go there and put it on them. And look at the fun they bring. Leicester should have been away. Leicester
Yeah, they should have been away
game
early.
state.
Couple of early saves from De Gea, big saves.
But once you don't get ahead of them, they'll come at you. They came at Barcelona. They came at Man United. They came at Leicester today. Scored 2 quick goals, both against Barcelona, both against Leicester today. It's kind of what they do. Like, they couldn't. It was breathless. That first 15, 20 minutes, that second half, it was breathless. The pace, Leicester just didn't know what to do. It was just like some kind of crazy fight, where they were just beating them up.
Like Rashford on the right in the first half, Rashford on the left in the second half, Sancho coming in, and Bruno had 7 key passes today. 7. No, 9.
Big
No, it
chances
wasn't 7. It was 9, wasn't it?
Yeah, 9
was it 9? Sorry.
In total, I think it was, because a big chance created is separate of key passes. But basically, from a baseline perspective, he just ripped it up. But yeah, coming back, you're going to get potentially Liverpool away. You can't tell me you back Liverpool for a clean sheet in 26.
No chance.
Against. Then you get home to Southampton. You play your free hit in 28. You get a double, home to Everton, away to Forest.
Yeah. I still think if you look at it short term, because I mean we're considering wild cards in 27. There's an option. There's obviously options later on, but we're considering
I don't see it. People really wild. I don't see it.
You can't see
genuinely don't
wildcard
see it.
27. No, you can't see the wildcard 27 free at 28.
I don't see it. I know it's there as a solution, but I don't see it. The fixtures are so good for people. Like, I feel like it's a really aggressive play, and fair play if you want to go really aggressive and do it. But you're playing a chip, and also you're taking on, because you're only going to do it if you're going to go big on Brentford and big on Brighton. You're definitely going to want a keeper from one of those ones. But neither team are guaranteed to play in 28. So you're basically guaranteeing yourself you go wild card and free hit. It's a really aggressive play. We've seen this weekend, mate. Like, Rashford can't be doing any more, and only like 1 in 10 managers went for him. The other 9 went for Haaland. Like, I'm surprised, but I do think a lot of people will end up potentially free hitting in 28, depending on that Liverpool game. But we'll know so much more in 26 on it. I think, by all means, sell these players, but boy, make sure you're selling them for ones you're really happy with for 26, really happy with for 27. So the Gakpo one, not, pissing your chips, mate, but the idea of who would I want to own in that 26 fixture of Gakpo or Rashford, I'll have Rashford. And would I want to own home to Southampton versus away to Bournemouth? But they're both good games, but I'd still rather have Rashford. I just think keep Rashford unless you really, really have to. There's different ways you can do it. Like, I'm much more, well, we'll get onto it, but I'm so calm on losing KDB. I'd rather lose, if I'm going to Gakpo, I'd rather lose KDB for him, because if you were offered to do the old flappy thing, same price, KDB or Rashford right now, which one do you want?
Yeah, you want Rashford. That's fair. That's fair. It's not even a competition.
It's not even a competition.
No.
Sell KDB
at either price.
Get the money.
Price. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Right. We need to move on because we've still got a few to go. While we are doing the next spin of the wheel, hello to the 300 of you that are in the chat today. So glad to have you all along.
Big week. It's a big week, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. If you are enjoying it, though, there's one thing you can do that will really, really help us, and that is to hit that like button if you're enjoying it. And if you want to see more of it, you can always subscribe as well. Do all the good stuff. Unbeaten in 11. Somehow. Brentford. Unbeaten in 11. Thomas Frank said it felt like a win. Obviously, it felt like a win scoring in that last minute. And the game was pretty dull, to be quite honest. Palace are not very good. Brentford, I don't think were great. It's not much really.
It's another equaliser, isn't it, of a midfielder getting in front of Tony to score the goal.
Yeah, getting that run. Just getting that run on him.
It's clever, isn't it? It is clever. They basically, everyone goes to Tony. Although I think he got himself free. Like, I think he would have just put it in.
Well, Anderson was quality. I think if you watch Match of the Day last night, they did a big piece on Anderson. But yeah, the one thing he did get wrong was he just found himself underneath the cross that came in. And he took a step forward when he should have taken a step back. And that was the difference.
Yeah, massive.
But apart from, we're not looking at Brentford now with obviously a blank. Palace are just a non-option for me. I don't know how much time you want to spend on this game, to be quite honest.
If you were wildcarded now, would you put David Raya in your team as your second keeper? Because you need a first keeper because you haven't played this week. But I see a lot of people going, like there is already, like 40,000 people have brought Raya in this week when he doesn't play.
Is this what you're thinking with wildcard then? Is this why you're another reason why you're thinking wildcard?
Like, I can't see exactly another reason why I think wildcards is you can't. Surely nobody who's not on wildcard is going poke to Raya this week. Player that doesn't play for player that doesn't play.
I mean, potentially, because if you look at their, they play Liverpool away in 35 and City away, Tottenham away in 37 and City away City at home in 38. But apart from that, Fulham, Everton,
Yeah.
Southampton, Leicester, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, Villa, Chelsea, Forest. It's not bad, is it?
I don't think they're getting that game against Leicester. I think Leicester are a really good option for the FA Cup. Like they look a good team now, and there's not a lot of teams in it. I would not be surprised if Rog really goes for it in the FA Cup, tries to get something trophy out of that.
Yeah.
I don't think they get that game in 28.
Moving on.
Bumo outscored Tony.
With the assist, yeah.
Would you consider you've got Nonto? Would you consider Nonto to Bumo if you can't get to Tony? You just find a way to Tony.
No, probably not. I'll probably just find a way to Tony.
Interesting.
Probably just find a way to Tony.
Move on, I suppose.
Yeah. Not really fast. 3 more to go. 100% win record. That is our man. Now, unfortunately, Opta hadn't released the chart, I don't think,
for Tottenham today.
For Tottenham, but it finished.
So we were about 1.5 XG, weren't we? Against
they were about
0.6
half,
XG.
Yeah, about half, 1.5 to a half, roughly, right? Yeah, 1.5 to a half.
Wow, with cheese.
It's not Porro time, is it? Like, can you see Porro coming in?
Thinking like, how does he come in?
No, I don't know. I don't even know how that first goal happened, though. This is what I just kind of looked up from something. I wasn't looking at the screen for a second. I looked up, and suddenly this arrow pass has just been played by Højbjerg into Ben Davies, who has broken the forward line, and then who lays it 5 yards across to Emerson Royale, who's just standing there waiting for the ball. It made no sense whatsoever.
Nice. I mean, Ben Davies put in a better performance at left wing back than Perisic and Sessegnon put in all season.
Yeah, I think we can go on record and say we were totally wrong about Perisic at the start of the season. It couldn't be more wrong. I mean, we're both don't get us wrong. We're both really pissed off about that from a Tottenham perspective as well. But he's just been woeful. Came on a pitch and just started kicking people. Like, just didn't even bother.
Literally did.
Literally just came on and started kicking people. Just no awareness whatsoever. Davies was great on the left-hand side in the end.
I've just got really distracted. I've got Krellin's fixture sheet open, and whilst I've got it open, Krellin's in on the Excel, and I can see him moving around on it. I can't help but look at him moving around in the cells. Sorry, very distracted. Back to the game. Richarlison was bad for Kane, wasn't he? Like, he dropped so deep, Kane. He was never. So one of the reasons I think that goal happened was because all of the forwards were just in really weird places while Richarlison was on the pitch.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that. He's not a left-sided player.
Nah,
it doesn't feel like it. I know he did that kind of role at Watford, and he did it at Everton, but it doesn't feel like it works in this.
It wasn't 3-4-3 at all. Wasn't even close to. I mean, we talk about someone to play up top, but like, that was a weird shape. Kulusevski looked like he hated it because he's the only winger, and he was all a bit weird. But he was immediately better, Kulusevski, for that short period of time that he was on the pitch when, in that second half, when
Son came on.
Son came on, and they tried to get into a better shape. And Kane was suddenly miles more forward. Richarlison's an issue.
From a minutes perspective, well, yeah, if he gets minutes, then it's a problem for
If
Kane.
He keeps getting minutes ahead of Son, but hopefully the fact, I'm so glad Son scored, because I think that's a very, very good. Richarlison's a problem.
Can't say it again though, can we? We can't say again that Son is quote unquote back.
We can say it many, many times. Okay. We will say it many, many
Son's
times.
Back.
Let's at least say that's the first, interview. So he did an interview Son before the game, and he talked about the fact that, fans should deserve more from him and all those bits of it. And I was like, okay, you don't hear that sort of stuff from Son very often. That's good to see. And and then comes on and they just look like happy. I'm sure as soon as he got it on, Kane was like, "Yeah, my boy's back. I'm just going to give you it." Yeah.
What
So
does
are
it
we
mean?
selling Kane? Are we selling Kane?
I'm still selling Kane, I think.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
still
I am.
selling Kane ahead of 25. I mean, and I know the fixtures out the back of it are good, and I'll probably block myself from getting out there, but I still see a wild card in my short term future. So
Yeah.
there's always a way back in. There's always a way back in, and money's still good because I mean, if you look, if now if I was to wild card, um, I still wouldn't default to Salah, and I definitely wouldn't go to KDB. So I would be happy enough to have, I'd look at that sort of semi-premium, semi-premium midfield, and just load up in there. So you can easily go like Bruno, Hakpo, and Saka, Erdegaard, and whoever else, and Mitoma, and or Martinelli still cheap, and there's still good options there.
You had to get
I
another hat point, didn't you?
had to get another Hakpo in there. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely love it.
But Kane is still a sell for me this week. Kane's still a sell, and I don't want to read too much into the way that Tottenham played defensively. Yes, we played well, but we know we're not options for defensive players at all. You wouldn't pick any of our defenders, and the reason you wouldn't pick Emerson, you wouldn't pick Royale because Porro is just sitting there, and as soon as Royale has a bad game, here we gone because Porro will be there.
Yeah.
But we do need to see Porro with Romero rather than Sanchez or Tanganga, for sure.
And Forster kept a clean sheet because West Ham is a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're just struggling. Just struggling.
Yeah.
Right, let's go back to the wheel. We've got a couple more to go. Yeah, we've got a couple more. We've got 2 games to go. Are you Darwin in disguise?
We've done this, haven't we?
We've not talked about City, mate.
Asking it in Kessie again for the misses he'd made. It's like I've tried to banish from my brain this game on the weekend.
Yeah. No, are you Darwin in disguise? Couple of massive chances he missed. Massive chances. I mean, he's got credit in the bank. So, I saw some tweets out saying, "Oh, why isn't Haaland getting shit?" Yeah, because he scored 26 goals this season. That's why he's not getting shit about it.
That's why.
It has cost him. It's cost them this time round, but and they should have.
It's too reliant on him, though, isn't it? At times,
yeah,
there is too reliant on him.
You could see that in Foden with the chance they had. I mean, there's no XG for that chance, but if he gets a touch on that Haaland, it's probably like 0.8 because he's 7 yards out. He's 7 yards out with an open goal in front of him. So, Foden psychologically he's like, I've got to pass it, and then he stumbles a bit and gets confused, and then tries to play the pass.
Such an easy, like you could have just gone 5-10 yards earlier. You just got to put it in front of the keeper. All you got to do is just put it in front of the keeper. Like he's gonna beat Felipe in a one-on-one race.
Yeah, corridor of uncertainty. Silly. You need to put it there. If you can find that corridor of uncertainty, then keepers will not know what to do. And Haaland is quick. I mean, him bounding down towards you, a keeper will have to commit fully, and he either gets there, or it's a penalty, or it's a goal. Yeah. There's only 3 options there.
And that's the negative for them when you're trying to work everything towards the idea of him scoring. Then you need him to score, and if he doesn't, then it ain't so good. And didn't give him the good service on the phone and one. The snatchy. Once it's come off the bar, like he does, he just craps himself.
Yeah, he just panics. Which is something we haven't seen yet.
But he goes high as well, which I appreciate you go high because I do think there is a little bit in it. Like, do you not just think watching Navas, like, there's a lot of teams in this league that Navas could play for and they'd suddenly have a better keeper than that.
Yeah, but I'd also say that Bernardo Silva's goal went just straight between his arms. It felt like he just went straight at him and just went straight through him.
But I think that's him. I think what he does do is in like one-on-ones and get forward and get big. I do think I'd have
preferred Hugo Lloris behind that one.
Yeah.
So,
I do think, I mean the Laporte goal, saving it with his balls, like incredible.
Yeah. That's the reason why you thought we'd spoken about it, because we spoke about how unlucky we were not to get any KDB points. And we'd already
Man, that was unlucky.
talked about that header. He literally could have headed it anywhere else and it would have gone in. But I literally
Anyway,
headed it as nuts. Nightmare.
have you seen the have you seen any of the video of the interview that Pep did? Last, it came out like after the embargoed quotes, and he starts to talk about a few things. One of the things he talked about with Laporte was that he's basically said that Laporte will play in every single game where they're going to hopefully win the game. He's like, if we need build up from the left hand side, Laporte plays.
Yeah, I did see the quotes. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but yeah. I did see them come through.
But hey, having Laporte in what should be the quote unquote easier games suddenly becomes a very, very good option again. Yeah, definitely worth digging out those quotes and looking for him. Haaland thing, we can take him on. You can always take forwards on, can't you?
Yeah.
You can always take them on, because like most of the times, 13 points is a haul, for a real big haul for a striker. A brace, as it were. It's only that Haaland's done some silly things where he gets the 3-4 goals in the games, and hey, those things can happen. But I do think we can take him on now for the foreseeable-ish. I mean, that 26 game home to Newcastle is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't learned anything new from this game. I think that's what we need to say. Really, is we haven't really learned anything new. Obviously, we expected City to dominate.
Are they worth having more though?
Say again?
If you have a Man City defender, would you have any qualms of moving off a Man City defender?
My issue is the issues with Ederson. I think just from a footballing perspective, the issues it's the last 4 games they've conceded a goal from their first shot on target. Like not even So it's actually the first shot on target goes in. That's how it works. So just get it on target. Is the message there?
If you owned Ederson and Pickford, who would you play this week? Ederson away to Bournemouth or Pickford? I'd play Pickford.
Pickford, yeah, Pickford, definitely,
100%.
Definitely.
Other than that, you got to play him if you own him. You can't transfer him out, but you can. Are you going to take out KDB this week? Do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Let's all bin him.
Let's all do it together, so we all feel good about it.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Right, so we don't really need to do a wheel for this one. We just need to move to Everton versus Leeds. Although I'd called it Mike on Mark 2, based on the goal that Seamus Coleman scored.
Incredible goal.
Yeah, and I couldn't think of the goal last night when I was talking about it, and then somebody very kindly pointed me back to that
Mike on goal.
That Mike on goal. Yeah.
He scored it so sweetly.
I still don't believe him when he says check the keeper. I thought he was going to come out like
you can see him turn his head. I did see him turn his head.
I don't know whether he's looking for people in the box. I don't think he's looking at the keeper.
He's not checking the keeper.
He's looking for people in the box.
He's got nothing else.
And he's got nothing else. He just bangs it, which is fair play. It's a good hit.
Yeah, it's a great hit. Bar that, Leeds still don't score goals. Everton still haven't got a striker.
Yeah, basically.
That's
probably all we need to say. I mean, like, Tarkowski's going to be a good option. It makes Patterson worse. Coleman scoring is so annoying. Having Patterson because Patterson, for anyone who didn't know, he played 60 minutes against Tottenham in the under-21s. He got injured earlier on in the game, or he took a knock earlier on in the game, but he got up and carried on, and then he kind of limp off at 60, I think it was. But he came on and just said minutes in the bank and off, and we're glad to get out there type things. So, which is good for him for his fitness and coming back. But if Coleman's going to go clean sheet, deal with Martinelli, clean sheet,
captain, clean sheet,
scored. Yeah.
You can't bank on Patterson to play this weekend, mate. Just do the hits.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
It's just not doable.
Can't.
It's
I
just
can't
not
say any
doable in
more.
my
I can't
opinion.
say any more than that, unfortunately.
Do the hits.
Let's go back to Liverpool, boys, because we are all in. Let's have a look at these numbers. We are already at an hour and 15 minutes, so let's not spend too long here. But these numbers.
Should we get some chat, get some questions in
Yeah,
while
chat. If
we're
you want
doing
to,
this?
yeah, guys in the chat, if you want to ask any questions, go right ahead. We'll cover them in the next 5 minutes or so. So yeah, these are the numbers from the last 4 game weeks, and you can give me the small sample size spiel, whatever. I don't care.
It's all we've got in this format
all we've
of
got
these
from
3
Gakpo.
players.
Yes, and I got another one in there. So yeah, so these, for those that are listening rather than watching, whilst Gakpo doesn't actually top, he only tops 4 of them. 6 of these stats topped by Nunez, 4 by Salah. He does top XG non penalty with 2.26 versus Nunez 1.75 and Salah 1.51. Of which it primarily all comes from open play. He has absolutely no XA. But if we're talking about XA, so let's just put these numbers into perspective. So 0.57 XA for Salah. That is over the 4 games combined. This is not per 90. So that is, I wouldn't even consider XA.
So this is when you're considering this as well, Salah's played considerable more minutes than these other 2 in these games. So Salah should be winning these comfortably. The 4 metrics that Salah is winning is that he's taken more free kicks than Nunez and Gakpo, who have taken none.
Yeah.
And the other 3 metrics are all XA metrics.
Which is, and he has 787 minutes per XA.
Because the others don't create bugger.
So he's not getting an assist anyway. So Salah's not getting, I mean, he did get an assist, but he's, he did get an assist, but he's not getting an assist. We'll say that.
Damn, this is,
yeah. So is Salah the default?
297 minutes per XG for Salah since they've played as the 3 together.
Yeah. 139 for Nunez and 170 for Gakpo.
I mean, Darwin. Can we just captain Darwin?
I mean, we could captain Darwin, but you've just said, literally, I'll quote, I feel like you can go against forwards because 13 points is a haul. I mean, fair enough, he could do it twice.
Yes.
But
and that's the thing in it. You're the only person you feel comfortable going against Saka with is really Salah. Other than that, you just go Saka.
Yeah.
And why don't we just go Saka?
Yeah. I mean, you never know when Liverpool are actually going to get a penalty because they haven't had one all season. It's really harsh on. It's a bit harsh on Salah. He's had no pens this season, which he may have had like 3 or 4. And I know if Seb does these if Salah had pens analyses, I've seen a few of these come up. Where his numbers are obviously a lot better if Salah had had as many penalties as Kane, Haaland, Tony, for example, Mitrovic. But the fact is they haven't had them. So, I mean, what are these numbers tell? Are you leaning towards Salah still? Are you going to Salah? Because obviously Salah has, let's stretch out the sample size. Salah's numbers are better than this.
Yeah.
We just can't put a comparison against the 3 of them together because we don't have the data.
I'm going to Salah, mate. But I don't see a world in which I don't get another Salah. You know what I'm like. I'm a boring man. The idea of not having Salah. I guess the thing that I've looked at this is I just assumed that I will captain Salah this game week. And I think there is a little bit of, hey, I captain the most expensive man in my team.
Yeah.
But the game is a bit more than that. You have to look at it and think to yourself, is he the best captain this week? Saka is on it. He's on it. They're pretty much doing the same stuff, and they actually do get some penalties.
What do you think his ownership gets to?
Salah?
Yeah.
40?
Like 40, like who cares? I mean, it sounds ridiculous. Like you can take on 40. That's 40. I can take on
It's
40.
probably more, isn't it? It's probably more. It's
There's gonna be some
I'm
caps
thinking
in there,
maybe
but like it's
put caps in
4
there.
this week. Like, and I know there's going to be moves. It's 4 in the top 10k. 400 managers.
Well, I think the interesting one is I think Gakpo's ownership will be quite close to Salah's.
Hmm.
And I think that the only person that you are going to want to have if you own them, I think but you don't cap them, the only person probably over 100 is probably going to be Saka.
He's already got the ownership, isn't he, Saka? That's the thing.
It's not even that big though. Ownership, and nobody's like
65.
60%. That is tiny for a player like
Yeah, I
Saka.
suppose. Yeah, I suppose it is.
Because Martinelli scored, I think they'll still stay off it a little bit. You'll prioritise Liverpool.
Yeah. Because if you've got Saka, because if you're going to go Saka, you've probably already there, right?
This is such a big week on captaincy. It's like this week, the
Fun.
Rashford.
I love weeks like
it
this.
It is nothing compared to what this week is. Because whoever you pick, you're gaining at least 80-90% of their points, if not 130, 140, 150. There'll be, some that do Trent, there'll be some that do Salah, there'll be some that do Darwin, maybe not Gakpo, but there'll be
you did it. You did it. You said Gakpo.
I did it for you. Oh, God, I did it. Damn it, I'm on brand. Yeah. Saka.
Cool.
I just don't see me going against Salah. I really don't. I don't. But let's see what the midweek game brings and how they get on.
Yeah. And then I did just touch on. I mentioned this earlier on with Alisson's goals prevented. I can't remember whether I brought this slide up earlier on when we were talking about it, but Alisson's. He's prevented 7.4 goals this will be based on XG on target, I think.
So more than what he expected he should.
Yeah.
So he hasn't just prevented 7.4 XG. He's prevented 7.4
above
more than he should.
He should have, above what he should have. He should have saved. Oh yeah, it's written right there, Adam. I'm not even looking at the chart. Expected goals on target conceded for Liverpool 31.4. Goals conceded 24. Do the fucking maths. It's right there in front of me. Oh, yeah. But yeah, Alisson, Kepa, Leno, right up there. Flappy knows all about Leno.
Leno's flying.
Yeah. And Pickford's up there as well. Pickford an option?
Pickford's a good option. Yeah, he's a good option. Yeah. Cheap.
Cheap.
Plays in 28. Has Forest in 26.
Can't knock it.
I mean, problem is like if you've got Kepa, you're still going to play Kepa at home to Leeds in 26 because they don't score.
Yeah.
27. Yeah, I probably would play if I had Pickford and Kepa. I probably would play Pickford at home to Brentford above away to Leicester. And then they play each other in 28, and then you got the fun.
Yeah,
because whichever one you pick is the wrong one.
Yeah,
but I do think if people are not captaining Salah, then I think they've got more of a decision to make.
Yeah,
I think they've got a much bigger decision to make because you bring him in and potentially doesn't play in 28. It's an issue. But if you do bring him in and then you somehow luck into you've got that 28 fixture, because we're all going to have way too much money in 28, aren't we? Effectively. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of value you're going to put on the pitch.
Yeah.
Kane won't play. Haaland won't play. KDB won't play. None of those guys, Bruno's not going to play. Yeah. So the probable captain for 28 is again going to be Saka or it's going to be Salah. And I think I probably just want to have both of them. That's my feeling on it.
Fair enough. Right, so there's a few questions on Discord, so we'll answer those first. Although we'll answer them quickly, but we'll elaborate on them in Discord if we haven't covered it fully. So, Richard asked, should my trigger finger be this damn itchy on Trippier? Depends on value, I think. I think it's a value decision. If you haven't got value built up in him, then you can get him back. Then you fine, shift up to Trent, Robbo. If you haven't, then you've got to shift out elsewhere. I would probably still prefer to move elsewhere. Like I've got loads of money tied up in him, so I'm not fussed.
Yeah. I think it does depend a little bit as well how trigger happy you think you are on wild card. You know, it sounded like we talked earlier, and it sounded like you're a bit more trigger happy than me because I'm. And that I think if you are potentially coming off, then you can get back.
Yeah. Second question from Richard. What are our handicaps? And I'm assuming he doesn't mean FPL. I'm assuming he means golf. So
I'm the crapper.
He's not a
Despite the fact that I play more, I am a 15. Felt like crapper today.
Yeah.
Do you even? What are you going to get? What are you going to give yourself as a handicap today?
Well, my handicap doesn't change. So like the official handicap's 6. The official handicap's 6. But I plan to break par this year. So we'll see.
Man, I am not going to break par this year.
Chip plans, or is it too early? How many players do you want to have for this week? This week, well, one. Oh, I'm assuming in terms of doubles. So
6.
You want 6 doublers? Triple Arsenal, triple Liverpool.
6 with a hit. Maybe 7 with
minimum plus a Tarko.
And that doesn't count Bueno. Or Patterson.
Tarko counts.
Yeah. Tarko counts.
Okay, 6 or 7.
Bueno or Patterson do not count as doublers.
Okay, fine.
When everyone's giving themselves the old, I've got 8, 9 doublers, and you're like, what have you got? I've got Patterson and Bueno.
Yeah.
You ain't got 8, 9 doublers.
Hobo asks, if Newcastle lose the League Cup final and fail to make the top 4, does Eddie Howe get sacked?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. It's probably not fair, but it probably does. They haven't been good enough. They've been stalling.
I don't think they've backed him well enough. I really don't think they've backed him well enough.
Yeah, I think this January they didn't give him.
January was a poor window.
Did they get anyone?
Gordon.
Oh, Gordon, yeah.
Alison Maximin was great against Liverpool, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Very lively. Very lively. Well, less people to think about passing to, so he was fine. If you didn't consider, those of us, me included, who didn't consider Bruno because of blank game week 25 have missed out, do we need to reevaluate how we look at blank game weeks for the right players? I mean, it's always difficult, but we always do get blinded. We do get the blinkers on for doubles, and it does mean that we miss players like Bruno. I've missed Bruno. I've missed, well, I suppose yes and no missed Mahrez, but then he's not blank.
It's another reason why I'm so calm and coming off KDB is because it's like at some point in the play I want Bruno probably. If Salah continues with what we're seeing on XG, I think we end up back at Bruno anyway.
Yeah. FPL California says, given unpredictability of City's lineup, is it time to consider only having Haaland dumping all their other assets? Yes. Not a question, but I think it's time to not consider not captaining Haaland away from home. It's non-existent in away games. That's fair. It's a fair point. Scores on average 10 points per home game, 5.7 away. Yeah, I mean it's still 5.7, but yeah, the ceiling is probably not as high away from home as it is at home.
Yeah.
Those are the ones from Discord, so thank you to those guys. And Andy Mack says, is this -12 worth it for medium term? Akanji, Almiron, Martinez, Jesus Christ, fucking -12. Akanji, Almiron, Martinez, Mitro, Kane, to Trent, Salah, Tarkovsky, Felix, and Nonto.
It was really good when it
started great.
Tailed off. You know what I mean? Like when someone tells you something, I forgot. Like,
do you need to do Felix and Nonto?
Yes. I'm not sure about those last 2.
Yeah, do you need to do the Felix and Nonto bit? I don't know whether there's value required, maybe. I mean, I'd assume there is.
The Kane one, there was a lot of volume out in the
If you can get Kane to someone else, because Felix and Mitro will be about the same price, would they not? Mitro 7.1, Felix 7.5. You probably don't need that
Yeah.
one.
No.
Kane to Nonto, I've got no issues with because he plays in 25. If you get rid of the Mitro to Felix one and hold on to that, just hold on to Mitro for a week. I think I prefer
Is it
that.
still only one Liverpool and all that? There were so many
Trent
transfers
Salah.
I lost.
Trent and Salah.
Trent Salah.
Yeah.
Still want a bit more fun.
Steve says, how many points, players' points hits is reasonable this week? I mean, as you said, you want 6 or 7 doublers.
Yeah.
You're considering 2 hits, aren't you?
I think -3 is what we're going to see as like an average. And I think that'll be massively offset by some wild carders anyway. So I would have no qualms about being a -4. -8. I think if it was -8, I want a player that plays 25 and 28. But depends on it. It's a double. You can have some fun with it. But realistically, or you're reshuffling your Arsenal because you just think I've got to do that.
Yeah.
Because there's still quite a lot of players that haven't got Saka, haven't they?
Mm. There's a lot of transfer type questions in here. I think it's a bit early to really do the transfer advice.
What about free hit? What about free hit? What would it take you to have to free hit this week? It like as in like who hasn't got triple Arsenal?
I mean, yeah.
Just take your hits. Don't free hit this week. Just take some hits.
Like, what are you? You're basically banking on like double Everton defense, right? If you free hit, you're banking on double Everton defense.
But how do you get through 28 if Leeds beat Fulham and everybody else has gone to double Liverpool and you've got no Liverpool and you free hit them and then you get into 28 and you've got no free hit and everybody else isn't even free hitting then because they've got loads of players, you're then so up against it because you're up against it in 28 and then you're up against it in 32 again when probably everyone free hits then. You're so up against it, I think, if you free hit it this week. When everyone else is hitting, don't think, oh, well, I'll gain 3 points on the crowd by 4 points on the crowd by not hitting. Just hit.
Yeah. I think I'd much rather, I think just psychologically, I think I'd rather have home games against good teams for bad teams in free hit territory. If you're forced to pick them. Right. So if we're talking about here there's some blanks and doubles and stuff, like I wouldn't want to free hit Everton defenders in because they go away to Arsenal. I wouldn't want to free hit any Wolves defenders in because they go away to Liverpool.
And they don't score goals.
And they don't score goals. It's like, well, and as you say, you've already got 3 Arsenal and, just get 3 Liverpool. 3 Liverpool's going to be max -8 away. Max -8. And that's if you just have to go, that's if you haven't rolled the transfer in 24. So just, don't worry about free hit in 25.
Just hit it. Go.
Yeah, we're already like an hour and 35, mate. This is long today.
We're done, mate. It's a big week. It's a big week. People have missed the end if they need to. We'll timestamp it.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple more questions or?
2 more questions.
2 more questions. Right. There's loads of questions. You guys are brilliant.
Someone says, what are your plans at the moment? Do you want to share what your plans are at the moment?
I have to go into WhatsApp
I've got to try and
remind myself.
My plans at the moment is a -8. I'm going to take out Shaw, Doherty, KDB, Kane. Is that all of them? 4? Yeah.
Yeah.
4 out for -8. And I will bring in Salah, Trent, Darwin, Tarkowski.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And I'll have Bueno first bench. For Mitrovic. One of the 2 of them will play.
So if I choose to wildcard in 27, I could likely go Botman, Rashford, Kane for Trent, Gakpo, Darwin. -4. I could also do KDB to Gakpo instead, and there's an opportunity potentially going Botman and Patterson to Trent and Robertson, but then I'd also need to go De Gea to Pickford.
I like it.
As a -8. So there's a couple of options at the moment. that I'm toying with. I can't quite do the move without getting Pickford in, which is not necessarily a problem because, double Forest, Brentford at home, which is fine, then Chelsea.
And that keeps Kane, that second one.
And it keeps Kane.
Who's going to score against Kepa? So therefore, you'll be really happy when you play Pickford.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
Fair enough. Cool. I think that's a good question to finish on, actually, just because it's like general thoughts rather than specifics. If there are,
I think
I'd tell you what, if you have asked a question and you want actually for it to be answered, apologies for not answering it now, chuck it in the comment once the video's finished or once the stream's finished, and we'll reply to it. Because I can't reply to the live chat, essentially, but if you put it in as a comment, then we'll reply there 100%. We reply to every single comment that's made on a video. And that will happen until there's just way too many comments. So please load them up. Finally, I guess, again, we just want to say thank you to everyone else, to everyone for joining us this evening. It has been a long one. Apologies, we started a bit late as well. Hope you've had a good week. And
have a good one, mate.
Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. That'd be really, really great. And we'll speak to you soon. Is that it?
See you later, mate. Yeah, we're good.
See you later.